All right, Rob DeLoach, Savannah, Georgia, dad of Kalen DeLoach.
Ivy DeLoach, mom of Kalen DeLoach.
Greg Bethune, dad of Tatum Bethune.
Shovon Bethune, mom of Tatum Bethune.
Yeah, I thought we would start off with just talking about Kalen and his journey at Florida State, since you know he's one of the OGs, I guess, for this Florida State football team, and he was here before it really got going and to where it is now. What were those first year or two like for him, and what was it like for y'all not knowing what the future was going to hold?
Well, I guess for me is when we decided to come to Florida State, we kind of knew what the environment was going to be like. You know, it was trying to make a comeback and try to get some young kids that come in and they think can help turn the program around. So, you know, for me, it's just being a supportive dad and just trying to get him to understand this is how, you know, how life is. Sometimes you go through ups and downs. And we have a motto: we're only going to get married one time. And, you know, he stayed in this relationship, and so far it's worked out for him. And, you know, we're glad to be here to help see him turn the program around.
You all have the wisdom of being mature adults, but how challenging was for him, you know, when so many other players are jumping in the portal and trying to find better situations?
I think with Kalen, his main thing was being able to come to the school and help change the program. He's always kept that mindset, and that's pretty much what he did. Yes. When
this coaching staff came in, I think he started the first game, but then didn't play a lot for a little while, right, and then kind of had to earn his spot back. What was that process like?
You know, just talking with him, just trying to learn each other. You know, for him, trying to figure out what they wanted from him and kind of trying to learn who he was. They know he had the talent, but it's just, you know, it was something new. I guess he showed a lot in the spring, and then when it got to the game, it's just transition and first time starting and things like that. But he weathered the storm. I think it was some maturing and growing from him as well. And then here we are now, you know, just watching it come to fruition.
That spring when he started to really start to take off and get attention, and could you tell, does he share what's going on football-wise, or could you tell that he was starting to feel better about things?
Yeah, I think Kalen, he was just in his comfort zone. It was where he needed to be to expose his talent. And once he got there, then it just exploded. Yeah.
You know, for Kalen is, you guys see him probably more than we do. He doesn't really talk much. So his attitude off the field is not who he is on the field. So it kind of shocks me as well to see him out there doing all this and talking and jumping up and down, because it's just not his normal personality outside of the uniform. And I mean, it's good to see when your son is out there actually having fun. You know, winning changes the mindset of everybody, so it's a good situation.
So, switching back to you guys. So when you had to figure out where Tatum was going to go next, how did that process go, and how did you guys end up at Florida State?
Well, we entered the portal. There were certain things that we looked for in a program. It didn't necessarily have to be record or success as much as it was going to be. I wanted some coaches around him that were an extension of me as a father, someone who was going to teach him some good life skills and offer him an opportunity to play at a high level. He had played at a Group of 5 school, and this was an opportunity for him to play at a Power 5. So we had some schools that came down and were very interested, but I think at the end of the day, the relationship with some of the people that we had here, Maurice Smith, Randy Shannon, Savin Joseph, who was here at the time, they really made an impression on us, and we realized that this was the place for him.
Did you all know much about, had you all been much to Florida State before the recruiting process?
No, to be honest, you know, I played football at FAMU, so I was familiar with Florida State and Florida State football, the history of it. So I was pretty familiar. I was also familiar with the struggles, the recent struggles. Being an administrator in Dade County, Telly Lockett, who was also a coach here at the time, was a head coach for me while I was a principal at Miami Central. So I was familiar with Florida State.
So Coach Shannon, that relationship, that must have been a huge part of feeling good about it, I imagine?
Well, the relationship I really didn't know Randy Shannon. It was more so my husband and Tatum being at Miami Central, so I'll pass that on to him.
They developed a relationship while Coach Shannon was at University of Florida, and he started to recruit Tatum early on at that time, so the relationship began to build. And you know, like I said, I'm very particular about the men that I allow in my circle to pour into my son. And Randy Shannon is one of those guys that, like I said, is an extension of me. He's gonna give him some tough love when he needs it. He's gonna give him a hug when he needs to be hugged. He's gonna give him a kick in the pants when he needs to get kicked in the pants. And I appreciated that.
You are unflappable with these flies, man.
Yeah.
You are locked in. It's impressive. So Mr. DeLoach mentioned, so when you guys come on your visit, you guys met Kalen right away?
So here's the story. We made a decision and we left Orlando and drove here. And I told Tatum when we got in the car, listen, we're gonna make this trip one time. Either we going home to Miami or we going to Tallahassee. So we had a conversation about it, we prayed about it, and we said, let's go to Tallahassee. So on a 3.5-hour drive here, we talked about, you know, some expectations. And I said, you know, Tatum, when you get on campus, you know, you come here with a lot of fanfare. You know, guys may not receive you as well as you would like. Like, you have to earn that trust and respect, so you're going to be competing against these guys. So don't expect a warm welcome. To the contrary, as soon as we got out and we began to come in the facility, the first person to greet Tatum out of the blue was Kalen. He introduced himself, he gave him a hug, he gave him a pound, and to me that was impressive as a young man, because I said to myself, here's a young man that doesn't know my son from Adam. He may be competition, he may be here to, you know, you don't know how these guys are gonna take it. But for him to embrace my son and welcome him to the program said a lot to me about Kalen, said a lot to me about his upbringing, said a lot to me about the culture that Coach Norvell was establishing here at Florida State.
How long did it take him to get comfortable here? Or did you get here?
Not long. He was very comfortable, and he always talked about how he felt hanging around Kalen. And it was a few other guys also that welcomed him in as well. Like my husband said before, Maurice was here as well, so he felt comfortable with Maurice Smith as well. So it didn't take him long. He was very comfortable.
So then when did you all start meeting each other and spending time with each other?
I think we met each other at the spring game.
Yeah, spring game.
The first spring game.
Yeah.
And we introduced ourselves. You know, Rob is already a social media superstar. So, you know, it's like seeing him on Twitter and seeing him on Instagram and everything, and then getting a chance to meet him. You know, wow. it was a thrill for me. Okay. But on top of all of that, again, this was a person that I could see why Kalen was the way he was, because the genuine spirit that his family had. He had a beautiful mother, an awesome dad, and I see why he's the way he is.
So to his point though, you know, I'm sure like players, parents might see other players at their son's positions as, I don't know, as maybe a threat or something. How did y'all not see it that way?
It's sports. You know, you want competition, and you know, in my world, iron sharpens iron. So you want the best to compete against the best, and then, you know, normally it takes care of itself. But, you know, Greg says that I'm the social media guy, but, you know, that's my right hand. So when I'm going places, you know, we right there together. So it's always good when we share the same values when it comes to our young men. You know, like you said, we want great coaches and great people around our young men, because they're an extension of us. Now, I don't think we're as flamboyant as the boys on the field. You know, this is kind of who we are. But it's good to see that, you know, that they click. And, you know, Greg has some roots in Savannah, so we started talking about that. And, you know, his brother played football at Savannah High in Savannah. And then it was your uncle.
My uncle was a coach.
Yeah, he's a legendary coach, Richard Arnold High School in Savannah. So I started doing my homework, and it was like, yeah, Bethune. He was like, yeah. So, you know, it's a great family. And we like hanging around, you know, great people. And the relationship has just grown. And like I tell them, it doesn't stop here. You know, we just play games, but we tied. We here.
What I imagine. What were you hearing back from Kalen when he met Tatum and got to spend time around him back at the beginning?
He said, hey, he can come in and help us win. You know, he was a guy that you know, I think Tatum played a lot of snaps at UCF, and Kalen was playing a lot of snaps here. So it kind of was like, okay, We don't have to be on the field a lot. You know, you got my back, I got yours.
That brotherly love.
And they became like brother. You would think they grew up together.
Yeah.
You know, because I hear stories about they watch film all day. All day long. You know, they're not running the streets. They're watching film and figuring out how they can get better and help the guys get better.
So off the field, are they both pretty quiet?
Yes. Yes. Tatum is not talkative at all. So the person that you see on the field, because he's overly fiery on the field. I mean, he'll bite the head off of a snake on the field, but he's outside of that, he's very reserved. Not very talkative. He has to be very comfortable with you to have a conversation. Very mannerable, but he's not going to be overly, talkative.
Yeah, it's because that was one of the first things that stood out when he got here was on the field how much he talks. He's very communicative. Have they helped each other become better players?
Oh, definitely.
In what ways have you seen them help each other?
I think they complement each other on the field. I think they're like yin and yang on the field. They have two different skill sets that complement each other so perfectly, and it's like when they get on the field together, it's beautiful. When they're on that field together, it's beautiful. So Tatum is a powerful guy, and Kalen is like a Ferrari. He's moving, he's smooth, he's gonna catch your eye. It's awesome.
When I want to call them Batman and Robin, but they're both Batman.
Itchy and scratchy.
I guess in what ways have you seen Kalen help benefit from being with Tatum?
Just the maturity on the field, and you know, it's kind of like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. They both know where they need to be on the field, and you don't necessarily have to talk, but as a ball player, you can just make eye contact, and you kind of know that, okay, yeah, my man is right here. I don't have anything to worry about. And that's just, comfort, knowing each other, getting to know each other, watching film. And like Greg say, it's just a beautiful thing to watch those guys just come in and just been like they've been here from day one.
Personality-wise, the dads, are they similar to each other, or are they different type personalities?
Are you saying are the boys similar to their father?
No, just them two. Like,
are the dads?
Yeah.
They have some similarities. Yes.
We like to cook
communicate.
too.
Yeah.
We like to cook.
Meeting people.
They like to grill.
Who's the better
what game
griller?
was that?
Oh, Greg is he's a griller.
Yeah.
He got the best crab cakes.
And they'll talk about the boys, especially after games. It's like what they did right and what can they add to it. So
Did you two hit it off right away?
Oh, most
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yes, we did.
We touch and
hit it off
agree.
right away. So we're checking. I call her and say, hey, I'm checking in.
Yeah.
You here? So we hit it off right away.
Most definitely.
Do y'all, like, before games and trips, are you guys coordinating where you're going to be and all that?
We all stand together. We all stand
what
together.
What hotel you going to be in, what time you going to get in, what time you leaving, how you doing on the road, what's the traffic like, all of that.
Yes. The boys, can I tell the tradition that the boys have?
Oh, yeah, you tell it.
So the boys have this tradition before the game, the night before, where they have to have Outback wings. So we as the parents, we already know by curfew time, we have to go get the Outback wings.
And have it to the hotel.
Take it to the hotel. They come down and sit, eat their wings.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the nights of the Clemson game.
Yep.
And they were eating their wings, and we said a prayer. No, we were talking, and we were saying how they need to get turnovers, and they need to do this and do that, and then we had the prayer.
Right.
And hey, it happened.
And then Greg was behind me. He's like, man, we need a turnover. We need a play. And he called it, and it happened. And the show was with me. And I think I might have knocked her over. And I think when I saw my shoes, I had mustard and ketchup and hot dog and relish all over. So I don't know what happened, but she told me that this last week. She's like, Rob, you was everywhere. So it's like, we just try to be there to support each other.
We were both running down. I think I was running down. You would have thought Kalen was my son. I was running down the stairs trying to get there to celebrate with him because we had just
talked about
that the night before.
The night before, we had just talked about it. And Kalen was like, Mama, I prayed and I asked God 3 times and he ain't did it yet. I said, Kalen, God's timing is not your timing. When it's your timing, it'll do it. And the next day, that's what happened.
Yeah.
And I went to him, I said, Kalen, what happened? It was God's timing.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I mean, all the guys are so tight together.
Yes.
You know, just, and 11-0 is obviously what everybody else is going to focus on.
Right.
But just how special is just the relationship side of what this team has become?
Well, if you play sports, especially collegiately, and I explained this to Tatum too, I said these guys that are on your team now, these are going to be the guys that are going to be in your wedding. You got friends from high school and guys that you grew up with, but these are going to be the guys that are going to be the godparents to your kids because you spend so much time with them. So those relationships are important. I know every Thursday night the linebackers all go to dinner together. You know, they have organized activities. We came in one weekend and Rob said, let's cook for the boys. Before we knew it, we had 20 players fitted us, you know, crammed in a tight apartment, just eating and just hanging out. So it's really a family atmosphere.
Yes.
And those teams that are the best teams are the teams that are very close and the teams that are player led. So that's one element that we have this year.
For y'all, how special has that been to see where it came from and all the things they had to go through those first couple of years to where things are now?
Well, part of it is, you know, for me, and I guess for us, is that what helped is that they started putting all of the parents together. You know, when we first came here, we were sitting in section 30. You might have a parent here, and we never really knew each other. But then when they moved us to the end zone, then we can actually see everybody. And then they gave us a place to tailgate over at the baseball. So we made some suggestions as parents, and Coach Norvell and the staff made it happen. So we get to see parents that we probably normally wouldn't see, you know, when we first got here. So that change has definitely made it better for the good.
Do y'all get the sense, it seems like they've taken like DJ and some of the young linebackers kind of under their wing. Do you get the sense that they're embracing that role of leaving that legacy for the younger linebacker?
Yeah, I believe so. And I believe they take that role and that responsibility serious.
Yes.
I watched Kalen and Tatum yesterday late in the game go to, I believe it was Blake Nicholson in the game to kind of guide him on some things that they were going to do between the timeout. You know, and I saw them, they got on him a little bit, but then they pat him on the helmet and like, you know, to give him that encouragement, like, you got this. So I think they take that role and responsibility very serious, and that speaks to their leadership.
And just if you can reflect on this, I was going to ask each one of you to just kind of reflect on where things are, and I know the fans are dying for a championship and a national championship and all that, but like, how do you all handle that, and kind of where are you guys at just emotionally?
I think as parents, we all want to go to the championship, but like I said, it's, you know, God's timing.
Yes. One game at a time.
One game at a time.
One game
right.
at a time.
And we're praying for all the boys. We want them to be very successful. Yeah, I would say we all want it, but it's one game at a time.
My message to Florida State fans is this: you already have won.
Yes.
Yes.
You're already champions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your
Absolutely.
program is at the forefront of college football.
Yeah.
You have the highest graduation rate that you've had in a while. You're in national prominence. You have an outstanding coach. You have outstanding leadership. You're selling out your facility every week. You've already won. Everything else is icing on the cake. Be thankful.
Exactly.
You know, be thankful that of where we are, and that's what we're most grateful for. Championships are nice, but I sent my son here to get a degree. I sent my son here to be around a bunch of other positive young men and positive coaches, and that's what we've accomplished. And I think I speak for all the parents when I say we've already won.
Yeah, most definitely. Like you said, we've already won. We sent Kalen here to get his degree. December the 15th, he'll be graduating. It's an accomplishment. It's done. Yeah. As far as championships, it's coming.
And I guess for me, it's come full circle. You always want to leave the program better than when you found it. And I think, you know, when we walk off this campus and play our last game, or wear the Seminole uniform, we would have left the program better than when we found it.
Yes.
How do you guys stay so positive on social media with all the nonsense out there?
It's social media.
Exactly. People talk.
Yeah, people have their
Yeah.
opinions, you know.
That-
But as long as we stay positive,
Yeah.
then normally it goes away,
Yeah.
the negativity.
Yeah.
So it's never going to be about us. It's going to be more about them. And we just always want to show that we're always, you know, supporting and encouraging them.
And we have to realize too that we're representatives of our sons as well.
Exactly.
Right.
So we talk to them about doing the right things on and off the field. So we have to lead by example.
There you go.
I can't tell my son to do something that I refuse to do or I'm not, you know, showing a good example of. So that's important to me. And to me, it'd be easy to go off and say
Right.
certain things.
Right. Make them feel
You
some
know,
type
but-
of way.
No,
No, that's not what
It
we
takes
do.
more discipline to restrain myself and be a positive role model for my son.
I asked them about Coach Shannon because of the previous relationship, but
Mm-hmm.
what's he been like for Kalen as well?
I mean, Coach Shannon is, I mean, his record speaks for himself. You know, Greg probably has a better relationship because he's been in Florida. But I'm just a dad that Coach Shannon, he's a professional. I trust him that he's going to do the right thing with my son. And I think in his 3 years here, we may have talked 3 or 4 times. And it's always about how we can make him better and him getting to learn him as well. So part of my most involvement with Coach Shannon, when we do Legacy Walk, and he sparked me and we give each other dap, and then, you know, we go about our business. So I respect him for who he is and what he's done in the past and what he will continue to do for these young people.
I've watched a little bit of the Legacy Walk, and like all these guys know who you guys are. You know, all the players, like, it's almost like they've got 100 sets of parents.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
What's that like? I mean, when they all feel like your guys'
Yeah.
sons.
Exactly.
Well, part of it
They do.
is for us, and I probably speak for all of us, a lot of these kids' parents can't be here. So we want to feel like that they got somebody that's
Fill
going
in
to be
the
here to
gap.
support. We just fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
On road games, if we're going to coordinate, hey, you guys going to make it, or we are both going to make it, or show may be, and, you know, we may be on the road, but we want to always feel that they're going to have a mom and a dad here, regardless of whether it's a home game or a road game.
I want to ask you mentioned the initiative you're going to be starting. Do you want to talk about that, the project you're going to be starting?
Yeah, I'm starting the what we call the project Factory 2.0, and it's going to focus on kids that don't play sports. And we always ask the kids, so what do kids do that don't play sports? They normally sit around the house. So we're just going to create an outlet for them, whether it's through art, music, dance, engineering, to give them opportunity to get scholarships at the next level. And it's just a great opportunity to give back to the community.
I know you're an educator also. I guess if you just talk about that role and why it's so important. I know your family, you got educators in your family.
Yes, sir.
How important that role is. I guess.
Education for us is everything, and it's something that my family has always taken serious. We preach it, we live it, you know, and it's the same thing that I do back in the community where I am from. So we want to push the kids to, even if they're not college bound, to have a plan to go and do something so that you can be self-sufficient when you get out into society. So that's a part of my role at home, and listen, I'm blessed to be able to have that opportunity and that platform to impart some of that wisdom on the kids.
And last thing, so you all have had children play at multiple schools and different sports, and the Florida State part of your journey is short, but does it feel like you guys will be Noles? I mean, does it feel like that's part of who you guys are now?
Yeah, we definitely Noles. We're definitely part of the Noles family. The Noles family has embraced us. We love the Noles family. 2 years ago, I don't know if you could have got me to say that on camera, but you know what? This is one of the best decisions
Yes.
that we've ever made. My son says it publicly that last year and this year have been the best years of his life.
That's good.
And that's part of the reason why, because the Noles family has embraced him and made him feel like family. So this is an awesome experience, and UCF was a great experience. They have a great fan base, a great university, and Florida State has done the same for us as well. So
You know, talk about just that part of it.
I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. You know, Florida State University, like Greg say, embraced Kalen from day one, and we watch him grow. We watch him come in and not only grow on the football field, but grow as a young man. So when he comes back home, those kids will be wearing the Kalen DeLoach jersey, and that's going to just excite him and want to give back to the community. Because, you know, part of what we do is based on giving back. And, you know, we're preparing that next generation, so when their time has come, they can say, I looked up to Kalen and he did it the right way.
How did y'all handle last night? How emotional being on the field?
I cried like a baby. I'm not gonna lie.
He did. Listen, he hit that
I
that
cried.
bench.
I
Yeah.
cried.
I'm like, oh God.
These kids, I know the work that they put in. Jay Trav is an outstanding, one of the best young men I've ever met. His family is outstanding. As a matter of fact, the dads are real close. We hung out with his dad before the game, and we just sat back and talked about our experience and how much we appreciated each other and the journey the boys are going in. So to see him go through it, I felt his pain, I felt his disappointment, but I know Jay Trav is resilient.
Oh, yeah.
I know he comes from a family that prays and they have a higher, a faith in a higher being. So I know that he'll pull through this just like everything else with flying colors. So prayers out to Jay Trav.
Yeah. It's like a distraction. Wait for the comeback. The comeback is going to be it all. It's going to be it. Trust me.